Hey everybody, it is Tuesday morning and I thought we would take a quick impromptu tour around the yard before I get my day started. It's really pretty out today. It's going to be another blazer up in the upper 90s by this afternoon, but right now it's still very pleasant out. It's only about 11 o'clock in the morning. And I only have a few things I really want to highlight on this tour. We've seen pretty much everything that's worth looking at, but in my last tour I pointed out that we were pretty much at peak flower, and by now we're kind of past the peak of the flowering, but some of the flowers that were still not out have bloomed. So while we've lost a lot, and a lot of the hostas are past their prime, and the yard's sort of starting to look like that late summer yard, we do have some of those late summer flowers. And these phlox have come out in full force. That's the obvious one that we're sitting here looking at. We've also got my tiger lilies have started opening all around the yard, and we've got these everywhere. Now these are very similar to a Turk's cap lily, but the Turk's caps, I believe, are a wild or a native version of this. This is a cultivated version, and I don't remember the exact differences, but they're very minor. That looks very much like a Turk's caps, but it is not. That is a tiger lily, and I've got them everywhere. If you look, you can see these little black balls in there. Those are little bulbs, and they drop and fall on the ground, and every one of them becomes a new plant, and within about 3 years they're flowering. So we've got them everywhere. Plus I take them and scatter them and throw them everywhere because it's a cool looking plant. Now I kind of regret that I've done that. Anyway, butterfly bushes are finally starting to open. Don't know what took them so long this year, but we have finally got some flowers, and of course that means we've got butterflies. Unfortunately, that one there seems to be the only one that is out and about at the moment. We often come out here and see, I won't say dozens, but many. Might see 8, 10, 12 butterflies on this bush all at once, and of course we get that hummingbird moth, and we have actual hummingbirds. We live in an area where the hummingbirds were sort of right on the border between two different hummingbirds territories, and they're really territorial. I know everybody thinks hummingbirds are pretty and everything, and they are, but they fight like demons. They are vicious, mean little birds, and they will sit up in the tree branches and watch and sort of protect their feeders. And when the other male or female rival comes in, they'll swoop down out of the trees and chase each other off. It's really interesting to watch all the drama play out as these two fight for this garden and fight for the flowers and the feeders and everything. So I'm assuming that is because we are sort of on an overlap of two different territories. I don't know how big their territories are, but I do know they're territorial. And the only time you see those, people that have scads of hummingbirds at their feeders in the backyard all at the same time are people that live on a territorial, on a transitional route. It's the hummingbirds that are moving through. You don't get that many hummingbirds living in one area. So we have resident hummingbirds rather than the transitional kind, and we see them all summer long, but it's only two mated pairs is all we ever see every year. So not a lot going on up here. I apologize for the rainbow artifacts all over the camera every time I get out in the sun. I wiped the lens down this time trying to get rid of that. The brilliant designer of this phone put the fingerprint ID thing right next to the camera lens, so every time I open the phone I smear my finger across the camera lens. So I do my best to wipe it off, but for some reason we get those weird rainbow artifacts pretty much every time I come out here and shoot video in the sun. These phlox right here, they're kind of hard to see, and let's see, I've got some right here. They are really pretty. We've got so many phlox this year that we don't remember planting, not only just volume but actual color. We've got these pink with the dark pink centers. We have these that are all white. Of course we have these everywhere. We have these up here. I know you can't really see them from down on this end, but they are just a light pink all the way through. They don't have that dark pink center. We have more of them coming up there. We just got phlox everywhere. I mean, I can even see them coming up way up there. So they must really be a prolific reseeder, and they self-propagate very quickly and very easily apparently, which is fine with me. Oh, let's see, is there anything over here worth looking at? We can check out some of the daylilies. And I will say, just on an offhand note, if anybody ever needs to buy a backpack sprayer to do yard work, that Birchmere is really expensive and it's really, really awful. I hate it. I've been using sprayers professionally for years, and that is the worst one I've ever used. I hate that thing. So don't ever buy one of those Birchmere backpack sprayers. They're awful. Back to the yard tour. We've got some really cool daylilies opening over here. I don't think there's anything going on new or special over in the driveway area. It's all the same old stuff we've already seen. These daylilies are impressive, of course, but we have seen these already. I'm just trying to highlight some new stuff. There is one, for me personally, very exciting bit of new flower going on in the yard, and we're going to see that. I noticed it last night when I came home. I didn't get home until it was actually kind of dark, and I knew this flower had opened simply because I could smell it in the dark. It was amazing. So we've also got our mobile planter with the lady in red salvia is really starting to go. In another week or so, it'll be crazy, full of exploding red everywhere. The thing just looks like a giant fireworks display going off once it really gets into full bloom. So it's getting there. But these are the most amazing. These lilies here. I want to say it is Olivia, but I'm not 100% sure on the name of that. We've had them for so many years, and they don't do really well here because we just don't get enough sunlight for them. You can see how sparse and kind of, you know, leaning over. It's only one stem. It should be just big and full and vigorous by now, but they just really never do it. We've got another one down here that's kind of, if I can get it out of the plant. So that one's actually got some kind of bee or wasp or something hiding in there. Maybe that's just an earwig. Don't ever touch these. You see that red right there? That's the pollen that is all over these, and a lot of people will sniff them and then they'll get that little bit of pollen on their nose, and it's no big deal getting it on your skin, but if you get that pollen on your clothes, it will never ever ever come out. You will have a red pollen stain on that article of clothing forever if you touch that on there. Unfortunately, they have not yet invented smell-o-vision, although I think that's very fortunate that they have not done that when you really think about the implications there. But in this case, it would be awesome if you all could smell what these smell like. They are just stunning. They really are. And you can smell them if the breeze is blowing the right way. You can smell them half a block away. They are just absolutely incredible. And unfortunately, we only get a couple flowers, and they only last a few days, and they're gone. Actually, when I'm done this video, I'm going to come in here with scissors, cut them down, and take them in the house, and they'll smell good up the whole house. So let's have a quick look over here at the no longer forbidden garden. The big tree that was leaning over everything and making this an ominous, scary garden has fallen. So it's no longer ominous and scary. It's just kind of a mess, and we got to get over here and clean it up. And since it's been 1,000,000 degrees out pretty much every day for the last 2 weeks, I've not really been in the mood to come out here and start hauling logs and stuff away. So we'll see what happens. It looks like the deer damage is continuing, but not terribly. But that is definitely more new damage since the last time I was here a day or two ago. Of course, you can see the severe damage to this one, and we've got some pretty significant damage to that one. That's got some fresh new damage on it. So they're definitely still coming into the yard. Definitely going to have to go down here and start putting some more bamboo up. They've got to be coming in over the fence along this side because the path that I blocked down here has not been knocked down. My barrier is still intact. So they've got to be coming in over the short fence over on this side, and so I'm going to have to cut some bamboo down and just build a simple bamboo. It doesn't have to be anything special, just enough to prevent them from wanting to jump through it, and that should stop them from coming into the yard and doing that kind of damage, because that's just awful. I see it all the time. As I've said many times, that's what I do for a living. I actually spray deer repellent, so I've had to start spraying my own driveway, and of course we've had to start doing, yeah, this is a lot of new damage over here too. There was some damage here, but not this much. So definitely gonna have to get out and start working on building some kind of fence to deter them. I certainly don't want to start spraying my repellent all over my yard. Start cutting into my own profits. So there you go. Quick yard tour. Just wanted to show you a few of the flowers that are new since the last time we did it. Kind of an updated yard tour. And I'll leave you with one final look at one of my summer favorites, which is this wheelbarrow full of Lady in Red salvia. So thanks again for watching. Don't forget, this is my yard tour playlist. Make sure you subscribe. That way you won't miss anything I got coming up. I'll see you real soon in the next one.